the idea of calling the whole program in the spirit of Anne Frank was because of the whole program is very emotional, but also very full of beauty, but also of drama. So the idea was to call the whole program in the spirit of Anne Frank.
Yes, we called it after this one composition.
It's a good view now, and it's good background, so everything. And it's lovely to meet you, Monica.
Nice to meet you too. Glad to meet you.
And Ramón, we've spoken before already during the lockdown time. So and it's so wonderful to talk to you about this project that you are doing. I saw on Facebook, and it's the in Anne Frank's spirit, is it called?
Yes.
Yeah. So tell me what it was the inspiration to do this, and tell me a bit more about this project.
Well, this goes back much more because we both try to play this Jewish music, to find great Jewish composers, and so the Anne Frank was just a continuation of our work, which is already for quite a few years. And especially we based it on this piece of which is composed after the diary of Anne Frank. That's what's the title. But of course, you saw we have also other Jewish composers.
Yeah.
And wann war die Urfunk?
Well, we had the premiere.
I asked him when the premiere was.
Yeah, it was 2018.
Ah, yes, 2018.
Yeah.
With COVID, you totally get the years.
Yeah, I know.
Seems like it was last year, but it was 2 years. So it was so yeah, we did the premiere, and we had a program which was organized by the Christian Jewish Society. They go all over Germany. I mean, nearly every bigger city has this, and they try to cooperate to cooperate with the music between Christian and Jewish. Yes, also so, and when we were preparing for this program, Leon Gurevich, Ramón was speaking to him, and he was telling him that he's just composing a piece after he read the diary of Anne Frank. And I don't know if you listen to it, it's very, very emotional piece. You can see that it's written under this, I think, yes. An Englishman.
It's written under the impression, it's in the impression of the diary of Anne Frank.
Yes, I said, but it's very emotional. It's like it speaks to you like the diary. And
and the idea of calling the whole program in the spirit of Anne Frank was because of the whole program is very emotional, but also very full of beauty, but also of drama. So the idea was to call the whole program in the spirit of Anne Frank.
Yes, we called it after this one composition,
which inspired, but somehow it has also an effect on the concept of the whole program with Mendelssohn, with Gernsheim, and other composers.
But the concept is also about this year in Germany they celebrate 1,700 years of Jewish life. In Germany, and there are a lot of not only music. There are a lot of celebrations, and we try to do a musical celebration. So all the composers we played have either lived in Germany or all their lives, or live in Germany now, or have lived like Erwin Schulhoff a great part of their lives in Germany. So this particular project has to do with this 1,700 years of Jewish life in Germany.
That's so wonderful, and it's so interesting that in the past few months I've done actually interviews with this theme with the Jewish composers, and I've also spoken to an ensemble here who they actually look for these pieces, these music that was composed actually during the time of the Holocaust, and these composers who didn't make it, or whose work was just not being able to be played. Do you think it's this idea also that this music that you said, Ramón, it's sad, but there's also a bit of hope or a spirit of hope that you can sense from these works?
Well, if we focus on the Anne Frank suite of written by Leon Gurevich, there's a lot of tragedy, a lot of drama, but at the end, there's a kind of transformation to something very beautiful, to something very hopeful also. And so, despite of the whole drama, there's a hope also. Right? There's very often in the music, and there are composers which didn't make it, didn't survive. But for example, for me, Gideon Klein, which is not on our program, his last piece, the String Trio, he finished it few days before he had to leave to Auschwitz from Theresienstadt. And you would never hear drama in this music. It's very vivid. It's very strong, and yes.
Well, it depends also when they wrote it. Like Victor Ullmann, he wrote a lot of the music in Theresienstadt, and that's very, very sad and dramatic. But for example, Schulhoff, there are the 3 Etudes de Jazz, which Schulhoff's music is not. But there are some parts in it which are more dramatic or sad, but he also has a lot of very joyful music. And actually, in this program, the Mendelssohn is also not so dramatic.
No,
it's
not
also
really.
a little bit angry because he wrote it with 16 and he had problems with his father. So that was his way to get his aggressions out, which is a nice way to get out in music. And Schulhoff, I have the tango and the chanson and the Kitten on the Keys, which is a shimmy. So also, I think the piece you played is not so sad.
Well,
it has some drama in it, but it's not.
It has a lot of drama.
Yeah.
The piece of my father, it's his first cello sonata. It's his first composition, which is written in the sweet age of 63.
Really?
And,
oh wow!
Yeah, and there's a lot of drama in this piece.
Yeah.
Yes, but it's not it's the only really very tragic piece is Anne Frank suite. The other pieces. I also think it's important not to play a program just with tragic pieces.
Yeah.
Exactly.
First of all, to have some hope, and second of all, these composers also had nice phases in their lives and enjoyed life, and I think it's important to show that.
Yeah, well, I think it is like that, isn't it? In any tragedy, there are always things. It couldn't have been just bad things. I think there were some things that brought joy also during the time of the war. Even if the whole theme was very sad and serious and tragic. So
And they got to that part of their lives, but before that, they were like Schulhoff wrote Jazz Etudes 1927, so till the war there were still some years, and so there you can see the joy they had in life and the positiveness.
So this is also now a beautiful combination, the piano and the cello together.
Mhm.
Did you have to I say rearrange, it's because I'm not a musician. Did you have to arrange the pieces so that they that they fit the piano and the cello?
Well, no, not really, because most of the pieces which we play are written for only the Mendelssohn Sonata, which is originally violin sonata, sonata for violin and piano. And I heard it a few years ago. Monica played it with a violinist, and it's a very unknown piece. Even most of the violinists don't know this sonata.
Really?
And I thought it should fit fantastic for the cello. And so I arranged it. So I played the violin part on the cello. But the rest of the pieces
are original.
Originally for, yes.
Oh, that's interesting. So you chose them deliberately that way, that it was like that it would fit your combination.
Yes.
Yes. Well, we chose this program, like I said, particularly on the theme of the Jewish composers who lived in Germany, because of course there are Jewish composers in America and Israel and so on. So, but we try to stick to this theme of this year, which is the celebration of Jewish life in Germany.
What is the next now for you for this program? Are you going to, are there any more performances?
Yes, we are going to play in November, the program.
Yeah.
Before we have other things, of course. And like yesterday, we played a very interesting piece together with an orchestra. It's written by my father, Don Jaffé. The piece, a concert symphony, Exodus, for cello, piano, and string orchestra. It's a very rare combination because there are some double concertos for violin and piano, but there are basically no double concertos for cello and piano and orchestra.
Oh, I see.
So I inspired a few composers to write in this combination, and that's a very, very special piece. And yes, we played it yesterday, and in October we will play it again. So, yeah.
That's great. And then, so this is your collaboration. Not you don't only did the Jewish music together, but you also collaborate in other pieces as well.
Yes, we played normal classical music as well. It's not.
Oh, okay.
Only based on Jewish music. Absolutely not.
Okay.
We played also some, besides classical composers like Beethoven, Brahms, or whomever we played together. We played also some jazz pieces together with the jazz musicians, and so on.
Yeah. So and are you always in how do you say? Did you always agree on the pieces you play? Do you sit together and decide on which you want to play, or do you get one that says, "Oh, let's do this," and you just go with it, or is it really a collaborative decision?
We of course we both when you play, it's my opinion, it's probably yours too. I don't just want to play a piece because it's Jewish music. It also has to be a music which moves me, which fits me, and also good music. Absolutely, it must be of a high. And so we mostly, we listen to the pieces and then we agree if we both must stay behind this music.
Well, we have our programs, we have our repertoire, but we also add regularly new pieces to our repertoire, and of course we discuss it. How if we both like it, and also how does it fit to the surroundings, let's say.
About these programs, it's like this. It somehow it rolls because what I believe in is that if you are invited, for example, by a Christian Jewish society, you always think about to bring special pieces or also pieces not everybody knows, or composers to discover them new. And somehow the programs were always so well received that we are invited practically every year. And so we also need to bring new programs. So that's why at the moment we have a really very big range of pieces of Jewish composers.
But we can also sometimes add to this Jewish Christian for these societies pieces, like, for example, Beethoven's Judah Maccabeus variations, which of course it has nothing to do with religion, but these are the variations of Handel's famous "See the Conquering Hero Coming" from his Judah Maccabeus. So you can also join classical pieces somehow to that kind of programs.
Yes, we also some programs are only Jewish music, but also sometimes a combination. Or even in normal programs and the normal classical composers. When I played a recital, I played Schulhoff in the end. Near, what did I play? Schubert, Beethoven, Debussy, Chopin, and then I played Schulhoff. And the people are really, they're crazy about it because they don't know it and they don't expect it to be such good music. So it's the same we do. We'd also do it. We could do a recital and just add one piece. Doesn't always have to be the whole program. And this.
But this is what I like, and what I really think is so important is that from the musicians and from the artists should be this way of educating the public, of bringing new things out and not always, because I think so for me as not a musician, I don't know all this repertoire and I don't know where you find these things, and I find it interesting if you start talking about it and thinking, it's a world that I don't know of, but as a musician you can show me this world, or you can show me or let me hear these pieces. And I think this is so important that that musicians do that and not only play what we want to hear, you know what I mean, the normal, the popular things that we always listen to.
And you have to be sometimes careful. It depends on the public not to only bring unknown composers, because maybe nobody would come or very few people would come. So sometimes in this with a Christian Jewish society, they have a public, they know already that the music is going to be very. But normally, also yesterday we added some composers which people knew. It was also a concert for that 1700 year. But we also added Mendelssohn and Mahler, and I played one movement of the Schulhoff Piano Concerto, and also Schindler's List. Do you know Schindler's List?
Yes.
Well, yes, and the music, the famous
music,
by John Will.
Yeah, it's Perlman played.
That is a piece of. Sorry, that's a piece of music that gets to me every time. It's such
unbelievable. It's really unbelievable. So we were quite careful not to only bring piece by Ramon's father or Schulhoff, because most people will not know. If they see there is also Mendelssohn and there is Schindler's List and Mahler, they play Mahler Adagietto, beautiful Adagietto. And so we tried to.
Yes, I think it's generally it's a part of the future of our classical music, the combination of different styles also, that we don't stick always to the same, that we keep the same. Of course, it's a music of a Schubert, of a Beethoven and so on. It's eternal, the quality, but play just them, we stay always at the same. And so if we combine them with new contexts. That's, in my opinion, an important part of the future of the music.
And it's also interesting, like you said, for the public, because they don't expect, they come and they don't know what to expect. Then mostly, not mostly, but always, they are so enthusiastic about hearing a new piece which they like. So it's, that's the kind, like you said, of education to say, look, also open up to something new.
Yes, it's also interesting. I have my festival in Austria, in Tyrol. We had this year our 27th edition. And I remember in the very first year, we've played a piece by a modern Austrian composer, Gerhard Schädel, which is his string trio. And the people didn't really like the piece.
Really?
But in the years, I educated the audience always to listen to new music as well, and to know the pieces, to know also to know new pieces. And after 10 years, I put the same string trio on the program once more. And in that evening, people have spoken only about this piece.
Really, yeah.
It was a development, and one can see that if you educate people with also getting used to good modern music, so after a while they start to accept it. And
also they hear it more than once. In classical music, it's not like pop music. You hear a song, you really have to get into the more into it. So if you listen to it more times, then you start to understand the music. Remember when we did Schulhof 2-3 years ago, the organizers told us that some people came specially to hear Schulhof, which also shows that they're opening to it.
Yeah. And in the festival, I must say that in the first year, I've also lost some people, which said because of the modern music work, we don't come anymore. That's how it. But in comparison to people who are interested to listen to it, there were few. Which,
you can never please everybody.
You cannot.
I always talk to some people when friends, like when they say, well, I like this and I didn't like that, this new piece, maybe not so much. I say, you don't go to a concert. It's like with people, not every piece will come to you the same, but it's interesting to hear something new. Otherwise you don't know. So.
Well, I just think, I always think of it, this example. I studied the architecture of Charles Rennie Mackintosh, and before I did, I really didn't like what I saw. I didn't like his designs. I couldn't understand it. And the moment I started reading why he used these lines and why, the story behind his architecture, suddenly I could start seeing the beauty of it. And I think it's the same with music. I think it's with all forms of art. I think people sometimes when you say you have to get your own interpretation, but the thing is, if you don't have knowledge to make an interpretation, and you just there and it's just sounds, then you cannot appreciate it. But if somebody tells you what to listen to, or why this is so, or what is the whole meaning of the piece, I think it makes you listen in a different way. And I think this communication is so important, especially, like you say, with new works, with new composers, and to just give people the opportunity to know what to listen to, so that they then can start appreciating it. And I think then from that point on, then it starts getting more and more. Every time you listen to it, you get your own interpretation and make it your own experience.
Yes, what we do with these programs, we always speak about the pieces before. at the
Amazing.
public level. Then they say now when we listen totally different because you gave us some explanations. So usually in the Jewish programs, we always between the pieces we present the composer and also say something about the piece, so people then listen to it in a totally different way.
Yes,
That's
and this way of
amazing, yeah.
presentation of the pieces, it gives also a much closer contact, personal contact
Yes.
between the
Yeah.
musician and the audience, because it's not then we break this kind of wall, which, well, there are people who are sitting and listening in more or less passive way, and there are people who are playing for them in an active way. So we, with the telling about the backgrounds of especially new pieces, we kind of build a bridge between the music and the audience.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. I think it's amazing that you do that. I actually found that when I took the pictures of the artists in their windows, when I started talking about why I did it, why I do it, or what I see, I got so many interpretations of just the windows, of what it meant to them. And I think this is the same as you say, when there's an active sort of experience from the audience as well, from how they then interpret it. I think it would be so interesting, you know, if we could do it more, or more musicians would do it this way that you are doing.
Absolutely. You also I didn't do it before. I didn't believe in it. And I found it difficult because I always thought you have to keep some tension or something, but actually the tension of but particularly in not known pieces, unknown repertoire, it's very important. And of course you don't speak for hours. It's just you keep a little bit, but it really, I saw that the people reacted so positively. I mean, there was not one negative reaction. On the contrary, they said, well, you should do this, please, every time.
Really?
So that, yeah. Now we really do it every time.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. I love it. Yeah. No, that's wonderful. But so this is now, and you say in October is the next concert for
with this combination.
This combination.
In this direction of the program. And also in November, we do a program also. We play the Anne Frank suite again, and Ramon's daughter is also
joining us.
We are doing also
okay.
Harp.
Yeah,
with
there
a
are
harp.
some harp, piano, and cello.
Oh wow! Oh, that must be amazing.
Yes, there's a piece by a friend of us, Israeli composer Anna Segal. She's written a beautiful, gorgeous piece. I asked her in the last year.
Especially for this Jewish program.
Really?
A combination piano, harp, and cello.
Yeah.
And we will in November we will premiere also a piece by my father, who has written also for us in the in that combination. It's a new piece, and yes, we're looking very much forward to it.
But this was so lovely to talk to you, and
you too.
Yeah, and all the best with this program and the next part of the autumn season that's coming up with all your concerts.
Thank you.
But have a lovely afternoon.
You too.
Yeah.
Okay. And we'll speak soon. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.